So another story out of my own life, and we'll have some fun with this one. I'm in downtown Tempe. I walk into KFC. The guy in front of me is talking to himself, talking to everybody else, and you can tell that maybe he's not all there. So is he off his drugs? Is he demon possessed? What exactly is going on, right? Well, my wife excuses herself and goes to the bathroom, and so I'm standing there, and I think to myself, wouldn't it be crazy if I just laid hands on this guy and cast the demon out, and he would be healed?
So in that moment, did you know, or you just you had a feeling it was spiritual?
It was strictly a thought, and I threw it out as fast as it went into my head.
You're like, I'm not touching this guy. What if he turns around and stabs me?
Yeah. What if he's not demon possessed? He's just off his meds, right?
Yeah.
Well, so he orders and sits down, and I order and sit down, and he's just getting more and more agitated and more agitated. I mean, this guy is starting to go like to the point where I'm about ready to stand up and say, hey, we need to go outside, right? And but then all of a sudden he gets his food. So he gets his food, he settles down, and he's got it in his bag. And I'm sitting by a booth, then a trash can, then a door to go outside. He walks by, stops, turns and looks at me in the eye and says, greater is the guy that's in me than the guy that's in you. And then turns around and walks out the door.
Whoa.
Okay? And so I'm like...
Is your blood run cold? Like...
No, I'm like, I missed it. I missed it. There was an opportunity to free this guy, and I missed it because I discounted the Spirit of God.
So the thought of you laying, that brings so many questions to my head. Okay. So one, that thought that popped into your head, just, what if I laid hands on this guy, freed him of his... I think that's an issue probably all Christians struggle with. Like, is this me making shit up in my head? Excuse my language. Or is this God convicting me of something? So maybe elaborate on, well, first, what happened next? And then...
Oh, he was gone.
He was gone. So that was it.
I mean, he was out the door, and it was like he disappeared.
Okay, what does that imply? Okay. This is going down maybe more demonic ability territory. So that tells me that demonic spirit inside that person knew that you got like a conviction from God and mocked you about it.
Or knew that I was a Christian and wanted to tell me, even though you think you're a Christian and you have control, you don't.
So he was... Okay, well, that's another interesting point. Like, a demon in a person can look around a room and know who the Christians are versus who's not.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's fascinating. Okay, we should touch more on that. So not necessarily... He may not necessarily known about your conviction, though, because that would require, like, the ability to be, like, intercepting messages between you and God, right? Like, that would freak me out a little bit. Like, oh, okay, our line of communication is not secure here.
Did it matter? Does it matter if it's secure or not? I mean, they have been watching you since before you were born. Satan's been watching your film, right?
Yeah.
They've been watching your film, and they know everything about you. Here's the crazy thing. They can't win. Because who are you with? Who's with you?
I mean, it's not even comparable. It's like comparing us to ants, right?
That's
like
right.
The Holy Spirit's even to them.
That's right. They live on a different plane or a different dimension. And because they live on that different dimension, they see things differently than we do because we live in both the spirit world and the physical world. They can view the physical world, but they don't live in the physical world.